Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to Homeland Heroes Salute podcast with your hosts Doug Macedo and Jim Roberg.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host Doug, and today we've got a special guest with us today. His real name is Kenny. We're not going to give out the last name, but we'll give out the first name. His nickname is Bear. He worked with Blackwater, contracting overseas in Iraq, and so we're going to pass it over to him, let him talk about his time overseas as well as his time here in the U.S. I hope you guys enjoy it.
When I knew I was having it, I was a half a mile from my ranch up in Whitewright.
Yeah.
Managed to get my car to the house, called my wife and said, "Look, I'm having a heart attack. Call Care Flight," who I used to work for, and get a helicopter out here because this might be all of it. This might be me. All right, you know.
Wow.
So she decided to throw me in her Charger, run me to the closest hospital, which was north of here at Texoma, not where I wanted to be, but at least a level 2 trauma center. And I actually arrived dead. I was DOA. I was absolutely flatlined when I arrived there. They defibrillated me, got me back up. Then I thought, okay, it's chicken fried steaks or drinking beers or whatever. My arteries are clogged.
Yeah.
Stent me and sent me on my way. And when the cardiologist did the angiogram and said, you had a 4-chamber event, you're gonna have a CABG, you're gonna have to have open heart surgery. My sister, who is a surgeon and a pretty well-known surgeon, she had gotten to the hospital. Also, a friend of mine who I work on his guitars he's a major cardiologist, chief of staff, Legacy Heart, Baylor Heart Hospital.
Yeah.
As soon as we saw the results, they were like, "Check, please. Care Flight, send me to Baylor Heart Hospital in Plano, the best heart facility in the Southwest." Yeah. So when I got there, finally, they looked at me and went, "We don't even know how you're alive."
Yeah.
"How are you alive? You're supposed to be dead. Nobody survives a Widowmaker, so now you're in the 1% club. And by the way, you have no saphenous veins, because when I got and they had to remove my saphenous veins in both of my legs. So
Wow.
that's where they used the grafts to graft the valves when they redo your heart. I have none. They were removed in 04. So Dr. David Moore, who is my guardian angel, the chief of staff of Baylor Heart Plano, came in and met me, and he goes, we're going to have a day. We're going to have a round table with you, Bear, because we don't know what we're going to do with you.
Yeah.
We're going to do something. So they decided, since my right hand, my shooting hand, you can kind of tell where the notch is, and then it's notched right there, and then on my elbow and up into my thing, because after 180,000 rounds downrange, I dislocated my bicep, my tricep, my ulnar nerve had to be redone. My whole hand had to be redone. I still can't. I can do my long living I can. They had to take all 9 of my tendons, reassign them, blah blah blah. So the artery's not coming out of this side.
Yeah.
But what it is doing is coming out of this side. So they took my left radial artery out of my arm, and they used that as the graft.
Wow.
And saved my life. I was 33 days in the ICU at Baylor. Got out of it. Grace of God. Wasn't my time left. I've got more things to do.
Yeah.
So as this progresses, I took a trip with my wife 8 months later. She works for a tech company and is a senior implementer, to Vegas. So we go from Dallas to Vegas. On that American Airlines flight directly to McLaren, 19 people, me being one of them, contract the Delta COVID-19 virus on the plane. 4 women died that next morning. They were found in hotel rooms. Of the 19 people, 4 of us are left. The rest are dead. I don't drink, I don't smoke tobacco. I don't drink, I don't smoke tobacco. If I do drink, it's something really, really good and this much of it. And if I can even get that much down, it's more of a social thing than, but you know, I have a cigar every once in a while, but nothing big.
Yeah.
And when I get back from Vegas, I go to pick up the dogs from the kennels. We have 4 rescue dogs, monsters. You got a pit bull, a couple search and rescue dogs. You got a big Catahoula. They're all 100-pounders.
Yeah.
So we bring them back from the kennel, and that's the last thing I remember. Next thing I remember is the respiratory doc, the chief of staff, Texas Health, Plano, waking me up, and there's 4 tubes in me. They had to do a mandatory ventilation on me, or I would have died. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe, so they induced me. So I was in an induced coma for 8 days, and I lost the memory and all the good things that go along with that, which are nothing good.
Yeah.
Found out a lot about COVID pneumonia because the bottom 30% of my lungs was filled with it. And COVID pneumonia is crystalline. It's not liquid.
Yeah.
I've had liquid pneumonia before, but it's crystalline. So they had to do heated oxygen therapy on me. That was interesting. Got wheels in a cart. I've been a welder all my life. My grandpa showed me how to gas weld when I was 10. When this beautiful respiratory tech, wheels this cart in, I'm looking at his cart, and it's white canisters, yellow canisters, brown canisters, red, nothing that says green and oxygen. And I was like, dude, I thought it was in maintenance. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, yo, oxygen. You click that, we're all going up. I was like, no. He goes, no, my brother. He goes, I'm your respiratory tech. We're going to do heated oxygen on you. I looked at him and I was like, what did you just tell me? Well, we got to heat the oxygen because we got to heat the crystals.
Yeah.
So I went through that, but another 28 days, I get out of that. I'm cruising right along until I go for my 2-year checkup on my heart, open heart, and my friend Dr. Khan goes, man, your heart's working pretty good. He goes, but you got 2 shadows in your neck.
Yeah.
Turns out to be papillary carcinoma.
Yeah.
4 types. They removed my left, right thyroid, left, right parathyroid, all 6 of my lymph nodes.
Yeah.
However, it gets into my bloodstream. Not leukemia, but it gets into my bloodstream. So it goes everywhere.
Okay.
Then I go through what is called Loot 177 mass dose, and that's 1,000 radigens in 1 dose of radiation treatment.
Wow.
Kills 90% of the cancer. I still have some, still have stage 3, but it throws my heart into AFib and VTAC.
Yeah.
And I have so much radiation in me, they can't put a pacemaker in me.
No.
Nor can they put the Sims stent in me, because once they open me up again,
Yeah.
my doctors told me last month that they wouldn't be able to put me on the bypass machines before I bled out. So they're not going to do that. That's off the thing. I last week had a come to Jesus with my arrhythmia doctor and said, hey man, I feel forsaken. I feel like I'm alone, like you guys have left me alone. And the AFib is so horrible. It's just, it fatigues you. Excuse me. It messes with your balance. It does. It's horrible. The VTAC just straight up mimics a heart attack, and it feels like somebody took an ice pick and just jabbed it in your heart.
Yeah.
So June 11th, Dr. Yusuf, who's the arrhythmia management COS at Baylor, is going to go in and do a quad valve ablation on me going through my femoral artery.
Yeah.
Hopefully that puts me back in a sinus rhythm.
Yeah.
Right now, and up until my blood pressure is okay, but like my beats per minute, like even right now, and I'm resting and haven't done anything, is sitting at 117. So my heart's just, it's a broken chainsaw.
Oh,
and
wow.
So hopefully they would have scheduled the surgery earlier, except last Wednesday I still had 48 radigens in me. So they're giving me another month to try to push the rest of the radiation out of me. But makes it safer for the doctors and safer for me. And so I am going to Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to the NRA convention that we have here in Dallas. And I'm going to see a bunch of old friends that I haven't seen in a while, just because everyone, I'm here, but they're there and wherever. And then Saturday, we're going to listen to President Trump and a couple of my buddies. I am expected to meet Mr. Trump, President Trump, and it's gonna be good. I'm gonna I'm gonna give him a service coin of mine that I'm very proud of, and I hope it brings him as much luck and strength and fortitude and everything that it has given me.
Yeah.
And it's a special one. And he may not know what it is right then and there, but his boys will tell him what it is once he gets it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely.
so we're gonna walk around Friday and Saturday as much as I can stand and listen to President Trump and hopefully get a picture with him. And I've got something for him to sign, and I'm gonna actually have him sign this. I'll throw the
Uh-huh.
thing, the shout out to Team Never Quit. I
Yeah.
cannot thank the Luttrells enough for, golly gee willikers, those guys are just amazing. And then my other go-to, the Wounded Warrior Project, has just been amazing, been
Yeah.
so supportive, and they have given me, there have been so many times here lately over the last 3 years that we've all, if you've been in combat and if you've been in, well, if you've been in combat, let's
Yeah.
just put it like that. There's and you've been either injured or gone through trauma of seeing your either your teammates or yourself, or I've got shredded several times, and we all know where the shadow of the valley of death is.
Yeah.
What gets me through that and through those storms and weathering those storms is going through, well, one, I'm a mama's boy. Two, I'm a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm a member of the Order of the Arrow. And I know enough to know that if you're in a huge, bad storm, there's a bad storm, go through it. Just head down, Tatanka style, put your head down, because the sooner you go through it and face it straight on, the sooner you get out of it. I've always had a deep faith through my mom and dad. I was born an orphan in San Francisco. My birth mother died giving birth to me. She was a young freshman. Her boyfriend was the senior captain of the football team and in Ohio, and it was in the early 60s, and they shipped her off to an aunt's in Oakland, California. When it was time for her to deliver me, they went across the bridge. I went to San Francisco Memorial Hospital, where when she died, one, they lied about their age, because California, you have to be 21 to give up a kid. Well, They weren't 21. And when she died and passed, I went to the Mother St. Francis, I believe it's Mother St. Francis orphanage, right next to where San Francisco General Hospital was. Now it's part of a parking lot, but back then it was. And then Ron and Joan Kranzow adopted me. And talk about being chosen and the luckiest guy in the world. My father put himself through night law school in California, got hired on as a patent attorney for Pepsi-Cola. We moved to New York. My father's first office was on the 73rd floor of the North Tower. While Pepsi-Cola was building their national headquarters in Purchase, New York. We eventually moved to Greenwich, Connecticut. And then we ended up, as he took the senior job for not only the general counsel of Pepsi-Cola Inc., he was also the general counsel of Frito-Lay. So we came to Dallas because that's where the national headquarters is. That's where I stayed. was lined up to go into the Air Force. I started learning how to fly when I was very young. I was 10.
Yeah.
My uncle George would be Colonel George Seabird for the USAAF. He is listed on the Wright Brothers Master Pilots Award. He's in the little Kitty Hawk, the memorial stone there. He's chiseled into that. He signed from 1942 to 1946, 80,000 pilot cards. So that's who taught me how to fly. And I was lined up to go to the Air Force. Senator John Hightower, old guy, and God rest his soul, sponsored me. I'm going for the last physical. I'm 6'4", listed at 6'4" all my life, my entire life, until the senior doctor at the academy, when we're moving in, I'm going to the dorm, I'm going to the Air Force Academy, puts me on an invert table and goes, "You're 6'5", inverted." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, you can still come to, we're not kicking you out of you're still gonna, you can still go through the Air Force Academy, but you won't fly because the ejection seats are at 6'4". And I looked at him and I was like, "I'm not flying. Bye." And I walked out of the room. My mom's like, "What in the world?" I'm like, "They won't let me fly. I'm 6'5". She's like, "No, you're 6'4". But ended up at UT. I'm Longhorn. I know my blood is burnt orange. I bleed better than anybody else that I know. But marched in the band. Got my degrees out of UT. Bachelor Arts in Music, BBA in business degrees out of UT. So it all worked out for the best. Hit a low point in my life, and that was 9/11. The 9/11 shock for me, because my mom was really into Broadway shows, and she was from Chicago, but she made myself, my sisters, be able to walk in the city and use landmarks to get around anywhere we needed. Never needed a map.
Yeah.
And we really loved New York. I loved the place. I loved, the food, all of it. And when 9/11 happened, I got a knock on my door from some of my boys in the Dallas Fire Department. And they said, "Hey, you're coming with us." Where are we going? Goes, "Well, you're a medic and you're strong. You're coming with us." "Where are we going?" "We're going to New York." "What?" "We're going to New York. We're going to go help out 8 trucks. I'm like, "What?" And next thing I know, we're in New York. It's late in the morning. We drove straight through as fast as we could drive. I remember getting out of the truck that I was in, and we stopped right because they had pretty much cordoned off the city, and we're coming in, and the battalion chief was like, "Okay, we're going to 55. We're going to stay at 55. And I'm like, 55? The Bulldogs? I mean, in the Bowery? The fire station 55 in the Bowery. Yeah. He's like, "Yeah." I go, "One of my mom's favorite places. I know exactly where that is. Don't need a map. We'll go around, blah, 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 blah." And our nurse said, "Man," it was snowing. And I remember looking at my hands and going, "It's snowing." And our captain came up behind me in an LT, and I was like, "LT, it's snowing." And the captain hit me on the shoulder, goes, "Bear, that ain't snow." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's soot." He goes, "Yeah, man, the whole city's on fire." I'm like,
Yeah.
So we went to 55. We got in early, and all the racks were all messed up and everything. And rule number one, fire safety. You don't get in somebody's rack. We just bivouacked around. I slept for about an hour, and then I was like, okay, I'm a cook. I'm one of the cooks. I get up, I start making coffee and see what's they got and make biscuits or whatever I can make it. And Chief Dulcie comes in, and he's like, "Hey man, you're not dressed right." And I had a Dallas Fire Rescue shirt on, one of the old ones. He goes, "Man, you're not dressed right. You from Texas?" I go, "Yep, Dallas." He goes, "Glad to have you. You ain't dressed right." And I'm like, "Sorry, Chief. It's they Shanghaied me. I'm glad to be here. We used to live here." He goes, "Okay." And so he goes and he gives me a shirt, and he goes, "Congratulations, now you're a member of 55." And I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." And he goes, "No, what's your social?" "You are seriously now a member of 55, FDNY 55. I'll point this over here real quick. Right over there, you'll see a fire hat and an oxygen mask hanging on there. I'm going September. I'm going September. I'm going to donate that to the museum. The shield already is in the museum. Lots of PTS involved in going back in New York, but I'm going anyway. And I'm going to donate that mask and helmet to the museum just because I think it's important to do it. I've got a lot of friends that live in New York and play in New York, and musicians, and yeah. So I'm going to go back. And then after 9/11, I was in the middle. I got divorced after that. And then a friend of mine who worked for the FBI asked me if I could shoot still. And I'm like, sure. Started in the Boy Scouts, 22 single shot, 50 yards. Some people can play darts. Some people can play ping pong. Some people can play pool. Some people can golf. I can do all of that. But some people can shoot, and I really liked it. I thought it was great. And I got addicted to it. So in my troop, we had some of the finest members of the NRA who were also combat Marines. And boy, they taught us by the numbers. They taught us by the numbers, and they turned me into a really good shooter. 50 yards went to 100, went to 300, went to 500, went to 1,000. My father being a lawyer, and again, I'm very blessed to have got me a really, really good Remington 700 with a loophole scope on it, and so I had something to shoot. And I started working as a short order cook when I was 13. Spent most of my money on ammo and cars. So that's when I started shooting, and ammo and cars, and guitars, but mostly ammo and cars. And I stayed in it, and I liked the math. I liked the physics. If I wasn't doing what I was doing now, I'd either be a physicist or an organic chemist. I like the math. I love the calculations. I love the ballistic coefficients. I love just everything that has to do with the elevations, the humidity, the whatever. When you're seeing, heat wave's coming up right near you, that doesn't mean it's the same heat wave 300 yards downrange or 1,000 yards downrange or whatever it is. I just love it. I think it's just, I like the puzzles. Some people do crossword puzzles. Well, I'm not great at crossword puzzles, but give me you know, a target and let me do the ballistics.
No, you're good. What long rifle do you prefer to shoot?
My favorite now is what we ended up with is my 300 Win Mag. So I've got a KA 300 Win Mag with a Night Force on top of it, and then I have like my Coyote and my Hog guns. This is one of my favorites right here. I shoot 308. I try to keep NATO rounds together. But if I have a rifle on a island, I'm gonna use my 300 Win Mag. And we were shooting 338 Lapua. That's tough to take 100 shots. It's probably what tore me up the worst because that's a pretty solid rifle it's got a lot of juice to it. I was really glad when we switched to 300 Win Mag. We started off with old when we were contractors, we started off with old M24s, so 30-06s with loopholes on them. 30-06 is still my absolute favorite beyond 300 yard rifle, hunting rifle, deer rifle. Below that, I'll use 30-30. I love I love iron sights. I love lever guns. And
I was gonna say
that. But
that's like my go-to is a 30-30. Again, I like the old iron sights. It's who I am. And I can't.
I have seven lever rifles. 5 of them are Henrys. The other ones are Winchesters. And and then when we shoot SASS, I shoot 45 long Colt. So I've got a Henry that's in 45 long Colt. My wife shoots 357. So we've got her singles are 357 and her Henrys are 357. So we can match ammo and that kind of stuff. Out here on the ranch, we've got hogs for days. We've got all kinds of predators. When we first moved out here, the hogs were few and far between, and you might see a 75-pounder every once in a while. Now they run in groups of 50 to 75. They're all mixed. Now we have Arkansas Razorback. We have Russian Blacks here. And the average pounds are around 200 to 250 pounds. The Razorbacks will just flat out run after you and try to kill you. If they see you, they do not scatter. You can shoot at them, they don't scatter, they'll just come right for you. The Russians will do the same thing. And we've got mixed ferals, and we've got Texas spotted ones. They'll just scatter. But I have a sidearm, more than one. So now we went to 44 Magnum as our wheel guns in a Denali holster. And then we carry 308. We A10 308.
Yeah.
And FLIR scopes.
Yeah.
And but if I had to have one cartridge that I really, really know and really, really like is a 308. So I mean, after 600 yards, I'm gonna pull out my 300.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull out my 300, and then if I'm going to go out to shoot with the boys to go, okay, we're gonna go shoot 17, 16, get mile coins out, then yes, I'll bring out my 338. I'll bring out my 338 LaPoa, and I'm a huge Leupold and Night Force guy.
Yeah.
Night Force is just, because it was I think it was 04. We got into a real bad one, and I took a round through the side of my scope. Still worked. I was like, what? Still works. And I'm like, okay, I'm there for life. I like the loopholes.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like comfort food to me, because I know the reticles so well. But now the Mikuleks, I met Jerry Mikulik when I was a youngster, and then I've known Lena, and we're actually gonna get to hang with her a little bit tomorrow, I believe. And then she has brought me over to the dark side. She brought me over to the Sig Sauer dark side, and because as a Berettas, when I was over there, my M9s, that's my guns. I mean, that's what got me through everything. And then they gave us 19s right at the end, and I was like, okay, Glocks. So I got a ton of Glocks, and then I think it was 2011, I met Taryn Butler and started getting into what he was doing with his modifications for Glocks, and I was like, shot a couple of his guns, and I was like, what in the Wild West? Where'd what? And started following him a little bit, and he turns out to be a great, great guy and a patriot and the whole 9 yards. So I've got a couple of his pistols. I have a Sand Viper. I haven't been able to drop $70,000 on the Sand Viper yet. But
have you seen the 6 hour P365 with the optic ready that has it on it?
Yeah, we have 5 of those. That's what we carry.
Yeah.
Kathy carries a Rose.
Yeah.
So she carries a Rose, and then when I took her to a store to meet Lena, put her through one of her classes, and we walked out with a Rose while it was a 2-hour, 3-hour class, whatever. So I'm in the gun range.
Yeah.
And I have one of my combat masters.
Yeah.
Like one of my tricked out combat masters. And these 2 nice ladies are like, is that a combat master? I said, it sure is. She goes, I go, do you want to shoot it? There you go. Here's some mags and whatever. And didn't realize at the time, found out a little bit later, that was the senior executive vice president in charge of the Rose, and then her buddy is one of the engineers, and they're there for the Rose rollout and to travel with Lena, and I'm like, wow. And they're like, have you shot our Rose yet? And I was like, no. And I shot the Rose, and I was like, oh my goodness, the compensator actually works.
Yeah.
It actually works. And then I'm like, wait a minute, let's start looking at these things. And I am 6'5", and my hand's pretty big.
Yeah.
So Gina goes, we're rolling out the roses, but we're coming out with a 365 macro comp
Yeah.
with adjustable back straps and the whole 9 yards. She goes, I happen to have a prototype. No, you can't buy it, but I will let you shoot. She pulls one out of her bag and she goes, it's bigger. It's the same gun, but the handle's bigger. It's a little bit wider, blah, blah, blah. This back strap is because my husband likes it. And the minute I shot the macro comp, I was like, I'm in. Because I had already gotten a 320.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine gave me a 320. And then Lena, I shot one of the Legend. Is it a Legend? Yeah. Yeah. And I shot that and I was like, uh-oh. This thing's out of the box. And it's really, I'm like, uh-oh. So that's why I say she pulled me over to the to the dark side. Because the guns are made so well and you can customize them to anything. I mean, and Kathy's got the whole, she's a Mikulik follower, so she's got the whole crossbreed pack and got the sparkly grip on it, and we put Halston 507s on there. Actually, Kathy, when I met her 20 years ago. Her favorite gun is my Smith 357 Magnum. She loves wheel guns. So she's a real point and shooter iron types thing. So I got her a 507 and whatever. She's like, I don't like it. So she just shoots iron sights. So I'm like, okay, as long as you're deadly and as long as you show up to the gunfight with a gun, I'm cool. But she's got the waistbands and she's got the cross fanny pack, which I just love. Crossbreed holsters, all of it. And we have 33 acres. I have a gun range right behind me.
Yeah.
So she is well trained. She is well trained, well armed, and well, she's dangerous. Probably more. I don't know who's more dangerous, but I wouldn't go up against her. Yeah, the 365s have been, and I see people. I'm on the forums, and people ask me every once in a while, what I think, and I see people just taking these guns and just changing every inch of everything out of the gun. And I'm like, have you guys, when you first bought it, did you just take it out of the box, put some shit, there you go, put some shooter lube, put some shooter lube in it, run 200, run 4 boxes through it, and why are you changing everything? I mean, I can understand adjusting springs on the trigger. Yeah. And if you want a little bit lighter, a little bit, I understand all that, but I'm more of a, if I want to grip, I met the guy that does the, Laney turned me on to this new grip, because I used to use, I can't remember which grip it is. It's high grip or whatever. Anyway, so we put wraparound grips on there, and we use the sandpaper ones, because my first grip, Jerry Mikulik, I was taking one of his courses at his place in Louisiana, and he whips out skateboard tape, and I was like, what sorcery is this? Master, what sorcery are you doing here? And he gets out a freaking hairdryer and molds it to his. And I just sat there and looked at him. I'm like, skateboard tape. He goes, yeah, skateboard tape. And then I guess Talon makes grips, and what's the other one that's even better than their grip? I can't remember. It's an ultra grip. Anyway, so I use those, and if they wear off, you take the hair dryer and go and tear it off and wipe it down with alcohol and put a new one on there, and they're $20, and who cares? There it is. And I really, really, really like those a lot. The Holstons have been a godsend. I like the rectical on that, because on my I rarely carried an M4 because I had my bolt gun too. Yeah. But the first thing that we did when we put our boots on the ground is we would go to the market in Baghdad and spend $10 of our hard-earned money and get the best AK-47 that we could find. Yeah. And then I would take it right when we got in the wire, got our racks set up, I would go right over to the motor pool, to the machine shop, start lightening out, taking keyhole saws, lightening out the AK, so it's a little bit lighter, and then I found a couple companies that I would call up and say, hey, I need a 20-inch barrel sent to Iraq. Where? You know, and so I'd make a short barrel one and then a long barrel one. Yeah. And that's the gun that I would carry, because G.I. Joe don't leave no frags around there. Gunny don't like a messy. Don't leave anything. Yeah. Don't even leave brass.
No, they was, you know, they will reuse it.
They'll reuse it. Yeah. So I mean, you know, Gunny don't like that. So if you need some extra ammunition, if you're in a battlefield, especially over there, one, they don't use pistols. They use AK-47s. G.I. Joe ain't gonna leave no 5.56 on the ground. Sorry. Yeah. It's just not gonna happen. Ammo is heavy. So if you need some, it makes sense. That's why I've had a lot of people ask me that question too. Why do I see guys that are actually carrying AK-47s and they're in our army? Why aren't they carrying, you know, 5.56, you know, gun or whatever? And I was like, what happens? I'm like, okay, so these mags here, let me, you know, let's weigh a mag, a 30 round mag, you know, and you really shouldn't do 30, you should do 20, and this should be metal, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah. Try to carry enough rounds with you and see what happens. It's heavy. It's like carrying a truck on your back. I mean, my kit, even when I got down to the lightest of the light of the lightest of the light, was still 80 pounds. Most of the time, it was over 100. Yeah. But I'm also carrying a lot of PPs. Yeah. So every time that we went out, on a mission, basically breaking into houses looking for Saddam Hussein, or swag, Taliban, whatever, contraband, I would have the Marines. We had already taken nests. And when I was in the Boy Scouts, I used to mountaineer and teach mountaineering. So the Marines go on the top of the rooftops. That's how they will usually go from place to place to place to place. Well, I figured out, to me, it was really simple. I'd walk into a building, there'd be no roof on top. And then I would have the Corps of Engineers. Those are the guys that won the war, by the way, the Corps of Engineers. Oh my gosh. Without those guys, nothing would have happened without those cats. Yeah. They're the best. Oh my gosh. So I had them remove bricks. So you can go up to the wall, not a ladder. And how'd you don't know about that? He's just looking there, and he's like, nothing to be seen here. Except for up in the corner, around the corner, we would build a little nest.
Yeah.
So I would have my boys hand out rounds like you're at church.
Yeah.
Body of Christ, go to God, whatever. And they loved it. The Marines loved it. They were like, and so I had, a platoon or a half a platoon or patrols carry ammo wherever we were going, and we'd ladder it, carry up into the. Now I tried, Doug, as hard as I could to get my Slurpee machine, a double thing Slurpee machine, but I never could get one. I could never get one up in one of our crow's net, one of our barricades or whatever. I never could get a Slurpee machine, but man, we had everything else up there. We had little refrigerators and whatever. Licky Chews, man. I mean, Licky Chews save your life when you're out there and it's 130 degrees. And as long as Gunnery Sergeant didn't, know about it, or not know about it, but, wasn't doing, because we're contractors.
Yeah.
I'm a contractor. I'm not in the DoD. I'm a contractor. However, the longer you go over there, and the gunnery sergeants and the top sergeants and even the master sergeants, once they figured out that me and my boys are willing to die for your Marines, for your soldiers, we will. There were, I got my ass chewed several times, more than once. I'll admit that. But I also would take the rounds.
Yeah.
If it was, and these were, I call them kids, but they're not. They're young men, and they're brave as hell. And I'm in the kind of the Eleanor Roosevelt type of thing, the filthiest, most high moral, low morality, never quit.
Yeah.
All we need is God and a few Marines, 2 SEALs, a few Marines, a couple SEALs, and God.
Yeah.
And we're cool. And those are the guys that, like, if in my units, I was hard on them. I'm not going to take somebody who can just barely shoot 300 yards. No. You have to shoot 1,000 meters. You have to be able to shoot 1,000. And then when I started teaching guys to take razor blades and turn the tip of the bullet into a Nerf ball, and then use reverse rifling. So I would call up KA and go, "Hi, I need 6 left-handed and 6 right-handed barrels." They're like, "Do what?" "Left-handed barrels." And they're like, "What? Left twist?" I'm like, "Yeah, left twist. What are you gonna do with that?" "Throw curveballs and sliders around corners." And they go, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "So you're not a baseball fan? You never saw Nolan Ryan throw a curveball or a slider or a knuckler or whatever?" Well, takes a bit of doing. It's not great for the gun.
Yeah.
But at 550 yards, we could curve the bullets. You have the right twist, on, make the bullet into a Nerf ball, and twist those things. Throw curveballs, sliders. Because most of the time we were working in alleys, and they would that fast, run that fast. So running something like that fast at 300 to 600 yards, as soon as they're in your sight, you better be hitting right here, because that's what it's going to take to get them.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then the other thing that really upset a lot of us, especially me, and once the bear is pissed off, I'm going to try to do something to correct that. And what I didn't like was we'd go in for a sit rep, usually a captain, maybe a major, United States Marine Corps, would go, dink, here's the dot, here's our center. And they would take 800 yards, circle. There's our area of operation. And they would send out flyers and tell everybody, hey, if you're in this circle, don't be in the circle. We're working. Stay away. You know, if you're of age or whatever, or on a bike or have a phone or whatever, you're going to have a bad day. So stay out of there. Well, the Hajis knew this. And it would just really, really bite me when they would turn around and show us their butts and we're outside your circle. And once I got to the point where I was given orders that if they are a threat to whoever's operating within our field, eliminate the threat, assume control. So we started getting guys 1,200 yards out, 1,500 yards out.
Now, was that all during the initial push in, or was that once the push was already
03, 04, and 05?
All right, so that was like the right after the push.
Yeah, right. The initial push, they would operate within, like, say, 600 yards.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're a Marine recon sniper, and I can't give enough. Those are the real guys. I'm nobody.
Yeah.
Those are the real guys. I mean, those are the real guys. I had a moment when I found out in January they're doing away with Scout Sniper School in the United States Marine Corps. I was like, what? And they classified us as 0318. That's Overwatch. So the Marines, Scout Sniper would be in 0317. We were just, and it's fantasy land because it's contractors. You know, at that time it was Blackwater. And then it went to Academy after the one issue, and then it went to Tri-Guard, and I don't know what it is.
Then it went to like Triple Canopy, AOC.
Yeah, there you go. Just my favorite is I'm waiting for them to go. Pizza Guy. Pizza Guy contractors. I'm hoping that they, God bless them all. But it made sense after I was told that if you were in DOD, because the first time I met Chris Kyle was on the tarmac in 02. He had just come in, and he was not in Team 3. I think he was assigned to, was it the one? Maybe he was assigned to the 10th. I can't remember, but I do remember when I was meeting him, I could hear his twang, and I'm twangy too. You're up in a east, but
yeah.
And I was like, so I go, hey, Texas, where are you from? He goes, oh man, little tank probably wouldn't know about it. I said, try me. And Lothian, I said, yeah, we rodeoed you guys and played baseball with you guys. I went to JJ Pearson Richardson. He goes, oh. I go, Bill's Crackle and Oink, ever been there? And he's like, okay, you know where you know where I'm from. I'm like, yeah, I did. And I started looking at the guy, and I'm like, I'm 6'5", and I'm like looking him in the eyes, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm looking at his, you know, because he's all patched out, and I'm like, you're a SEAL? I said, dude, how tall are you? He goes, 6'3". I go, you're a 6'3" SEAL. And I'm looking at it, and I go, and you're a sniper. I said, nice bolt gun. Nice bolt gun, frog guy. I said, first time in our fair city?
Yep.
He goes, yeah. And I go, oh, he goes, oh, dude, you're going to hate it. You know, this, you're going to hate it. But, so, I showed him a few places that we had, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Okay. Showed him a few places that we had dug out and showed him how to go, you know, the little wall trick. Yep. And he's like, and that's when I met Chris. And God, he was a hell of a guy. And Patriot to a fault, hell of a shooter. Used to hunt a bunch with his dad and his brother, and he was just a natural, but he shared the same love of they're shooting at our guys. No. And then I asked him, I was like, you know, the punishment they got a big stencil, they cut out a stencil, and they're spray painting, they're spray painting everything, dude. They're spray painting their hit, they're spray painting the transports, they're spraying their 50 shields, they're putting this thing everywhere. Finally, I'm like, I asked one of the big guys with probably a lieutenant colonel. And I was like, what the hell are they doing, sir? And he's like, oh, well, that's why we have you guys. You don't have to take a shot before you're shot at. I was like, yeah. He goes, well, they've got to be shot at before they can take a shot. And I went, okay, I'm just now finding, this is when early on, I was like, I'm just finding this shit out now. You've got to take a shot, and then you can shoot. Well, that just takes the sniper thing out of the whole equation. Why? And that's why the other thing is, I was like, why aren't you guys using hex grids on your scopes? And, you know, and I didn't realize that they had to be shot at before they could take a shot. Yeah. And so Chris was making a statement that, here we are. Go ahead. The Bruce Lee thing. Yeah. Come on. Take the shot. And I didn't agree with it at first until it was explained to me what they were actually doing and what that actually meant. A lot of people don't know. They think that he was advertising the Punisher movie. No, it was, and it was also our thing is very similar to that, the Jolly Rogers. And that flag up there is what we painted on our gear. And I got it, because if you saw a column roll through, those Punisher markers, the fight's coming.
Yeah. The
fight's
fight's coming.
coming.
Fight's coming to them.
The fight's coming to them, and by the way, they don't give up. They don't even give up after they're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead after you get through to the 68th, and like I still see Steve Duffy, Dr. Duffy. He's the head of North Texas Advanced Surgical, and he was the chief of staff at Bagram Joint Force Medical. And dude, I've seen the 68th pull people back out. You're not dead yet.
Yeah.
You think you're dead. You may be dead, but you're not dead yet. Even if you're not dead yet, we'll tell you when you're dead. Gunny's got to tell you when you're dead. Don't ask the upper brass. They will just tell you I got lucky on working around some of the best military minds around, and a lot of times you wouldn't agree with what they were saying or what we were doing.
Yeah.
But you trust them. And my thoughts and feelings, even when I got tore ass up, we got hit by an IED that I couldn't hear for 2 fucking months. And I thought I started learning how to do sign language a little bit. I'm like, doctor's like, we have no idea. Maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't. We just don't know. Sorry. Fucking see you later, And after that, I realized a couple things that had changed me, and I won't apologize for those changes whatsoever. At all. And I don't think the general public really understands exactly what's going on these days. I talk with some of the people that think that the Palestinians would welcome them being gay, lesbian, transsexual, transgender, trans whatever. There's not even words in their vocabulary for that.
No.
If you pull out a pride flag, try that, and they won't shoot you because that's a waste of money to them.
Yep.
A bullet means more than your life, and if you're just being caned out in the middle of the square, that's one thing. But if you show any signs of any of the crazy stuff that's going on now, let's just cut your head off. Sorry, you're done. And
they're gonna put it on the post.
These kids don't, they don't. If even that, it's strange to me that there's so many kids out there that just have never been schooled. They don't understand what's going on. A couple of my friends work for they're sheriffs, and all the Texas sheriffs. My one friend I've been playing guitar with since I think I met Tom when he was 15. But he's a senior SWAT sniper for a big county here in Texas, and they all have got to make their rounds at Eagle Pass and in the border or whatever.
Yeah.
The normal person has no idea what is going on at all.
It's sad. It is, and what it is, it really It's because the mental illness of these individuals that are in society that think that it's okay. Oh, well, I'm going to identify as a wolf today. I'm going to identify as a cat today. Um, that's that's not okay. That's straight up mental illness. If you think
Yes.
you're a cat and you need to go into a litter box to go to the bathroom, that's straight up mental health. That I don't know
I
else.
agree with you. No,
It's
and
crazy. It's crazy. You know, it's unfortunately the way our society is going. You know, the mental health problems that we have going on are going to be the ones running this country, and it won't even really be running a country. It's going to put it back into the Stone Age.
I really believe that that's true. Many of my friends, like I said, they're still either ex-soldiers or SAS or got a really good mate of mine who is in the South African Air Corps, and those guys are badasses. And he spent years in Iraq too, and we all are like, we don't understand the two genders, one, two, male, female, and we think that not only is the Civil War coming, but it's going to be beyond, I think, beyond anybody's comprehension, because we don't really remember, we can't remember on what it was to be in a real Civil War where you're brother against brother, sister against sister, and
Yeah.
it is all back to mental health. And apparently it's just crazy. We had an incident 3 days ago here in Dallas where 3 Hamasers were on an overpass on I-75, which is
Yeah.
just came out from the DOT that it's one of the most dangerous highways in the world. I went to go meet some buddies for just some lunch. They're from Connecticut, and I hadn't seen them in a while. And see these 3 kids. So I took a picture of them, called 911, said, "Hey, there's 3 kids on top of the, overpass on 75. Cars are driving 70 miles an hour. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon." Well, one of the kids took a frozen water bottle and threw it through a car, and it went through the windshield and hit an 18-month-old kid. That's the no good.
Yeah.
That's the no good. My beloved University of Texas in Austin. I'm glad that the university stepped in at least, and of the 80 people there, or 79 or whatever the number was arrested. Nobody was from the university. They were all from California. They were all paid protesters to be there. No affiliations with the university whatsoever. And then the campus police did come after they cleared out all that rabble.
Yeah.
They went to the kids and we went, "Are you a student here?" "Yes." "Show me your ID." "Okay, here it is." If you're here after night, if you're here after sundown, we're arresting you and you're going to be barred. But what they're doing is they're probating the offenders 3 years from the university.
Yeah.
So if you're a student, you can't come back to the university for 3 years. They shut Columbia down. UCLA, same thing. There's no, and I can't even imagine working that hard for that many years and getting your graduation taken away, all this other stuff taken away. And the other thing, my other buddy who works at another local university here, University of Texas in Dallas.
Yeah.
they did the same thing. They had to cancel, graduations and all of that hoo-ha.
Yeah.
And it doesn't one make any sense, but that's not what the agenda is. I asked my buddies, I said, like, when's the last time you heard anything about the Texas border?
Yeah.
Nothing. To this day, 3,000 people still are making it across the southern border of Texas. It was $10,000 a day. Now it's 3,000, but you're still not hearing about it. I hear about it because my boys are there.
We up here in Massachusetts, we hear about it constantly because we have places that are like it used to be a jail. Now it's reopening, but it's gonna be opening up as a facility to house 125 migrant illegal aliens in this facility now. And it's like we're here in the state of Massachusetts. The governor has pretty much said that they are spending $75 million a month on these immigrants that are coming in.
And still we have homeless vets. Not enough medical or mental care for our veterans.
Yeah.
Contractors. One of the only reasons I could talk to some people that were doctors that were combat doctors was President Trump. And then the third day that 46 signed away all that. And but it's okay if you're from Nicaragua. We'll give you $6,000 to $12,000 pay cards, put you up in the Roosevelt hotels, and feed you 3-4 times a day, and that's okay. But in the meanwhile, we got vets on the street.
They're giving them housing. They've given a lot of housing here in the state of Massachusetts that are veteran facilities, and allowing the immigrants to take over and to stay there now. As you're saying it, it's like they were turning around and saying, here's $2,000 a month, here's a cell phone, here is $66 a meal per each meal you get, and it's like, what are we doing? We're enabling them to live off the system. What are we doing? You
pay people to be poor, they will.
You can't. Not citizens. Yeah, and you can't even get that. You can't even get that kind of treatment as a United States citizen who is on low income, who can't even get that kind of help. It's like,
nope.
I don't get it. It's, again, you're enabling it, and it's nuts.
Well, they're looking to turn those people into Democratic voters or
Yeah.
And no, that's not the way it is. I know, being in the restaurant business growing up, I know how hard it is to become a citizen from Mexico that have been here, worked their ass off, but $15,000 to $20,000 to become a citizen, maybe if you're sponsored, and then they're leaving the illegal migrants in here. And now, a couple friends of mine who decide they've got a family that lives in Mexico, and they're telling me, "Oh, we're going to drive down and go into Mexico." And I was like, "No, you're not. Who thinks you're going into Mexico? You're going to swim across the border because you're not going to Laredo or Eagle Pass, or you damn sure aren't going down to Brownsville. You're not going. No, you aren't.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh no, we'll make it." They went right down there, and then they turned right around and came right back. And I was like, "Why didn't you be able to get into Mexico?" And they go, "Mexico wouldn't let us in." Oh, really? Mexico wouldn't let you in.
You know,
And we just are going, yeah, come on. It's not so crazy. Like I
I
said, I'm really interested to go to this NRA convention this weekend.
well, how far
And
are you from? I believe it's in Houston. How far are you from Houston?
3 hours, 4 hours. I have a bunch of
Have
friends in Houston.
Have you ever been to the Saloon Door Brewery?
No, but a buddy, one of my friends I grew up with, knows about the barn doors.
Yeah, a
About
a guy that I just met. He's a local artist down there. His name is Scotty Frazier. He's a Marine Corps. He's actually down there. He has an event down in Houston. But I know you are busy this weekend. But I'll keep you posted with other events that he has because he does a bunch of stuff down there in Texas. Um,
cool. I've got to, as long as I'm not in a hospital or not,
yeah,
I'm really hoping that Dr. Yusuf can straighten my heart out, at least get it back in the sinus rhythm.
yeah,
And, the rest is, that would just be freaking great. But I have several friends that I've known since I was 3 years old that live in the area, and I can stay with them, and I need to visit them, and
yeah,
so they live in the Woodlands area, and that pub that you're talking about is, I believe, off of I-10,
yeah,
right near there. I hope they don't. And one of the guys I'm talking about, his wife and him 2 years ago bought a rental house in Jamaica Bay.
yeah.
But Jamaica Bay is right down from the Pecan Causeway.
Okay.
So they were trapped for 6 hours yesterday when the second barge smashes into the causeway, trapping thousands and thousands and thousands of people in Galveston. And the oil leak is so bad, they're doing all they can to contain it. But
Yeah.
they said that this may make the Valdez
Yeah.
look small in Galveston. Yeah, just bash the bridge. And the one in Maryland was, as now that everything's starting to come out just a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a full-fledged 12-year Maryland master pilot at the helm. It was a 8-month probie at the wheel.
Yeah.
And his origin is from the Ukraine. And if you look at the Maryland thing, that ship was under power right at the end, and made a nice, pretty harsh, like, switch the engines and hit it to the starboard and crash right into the right place to take that bridge down.
Yeah.
The thing in Galveston, my boys called me up and said, we got oil in our little cove in Jamaica Beach. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean oil? He goes, oh, you didn't hear? I'm like, no. And I started looking it up. I'm like, they crashed a barge into Galveston. And he's like, we've got oil in our cove. And it's right across from Southside Beach. My wife and I and the family, all of our families, I go down there on vacation. It's not too far away or whatever, but
Yeah.
please do let me know about about him, because I'd like to go down there and check it out.
Yeah, no, and he's a great artist. He's in between like country rock slash everything. Um, he's into a lot of that stuff. But there's quite a few of them that I'm actually talking to, and they're all down that way. So I'll keep you informed with it, and
You do that. Hang on just one second. Let me show you something real quick. No. Oh. I'm a blues rock player, and Steve Ray Vaughan, School of Music, awesome, that kind of stuff. But this is one of my Stratocasters that I built. This is completely built by hand. It took me 12 months to build this. Sprayed in nitrocellulose lacquer. I took the
you know what?
measurements from Anson Funderburg 1956 Stratocaster.
You know what? As you're showing me that, I'm thinking of mine.
All right, there you go. Oh, nice.
Yeah, this one
Whose signature?
Alice Cooper.
I love him.
Yeah,
He's awesome.
I've got my own collection of guitars and stuff, and I'm like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, wait, hold on,
It's an addiction.
It looks like mine. It's mine. Is that mine?
That's a Texas Guitar Workshop custom. My good friend Anson Funderburg from Anson Funderburg and the Rockets. I've been doing his guitar work for more than a minute, and I mic'd his Whoopee, his 1956 Stratocaster that Fender made 50 clones of them. And while I had it, I was like, might as well measure the pickups, might as well measure the whole thing, measure the neck, I might as well mic the whole thing. I worked for Fender for years and years and years and years and years. Doing warranty repair. I'm a gold level luthier for them. I'm a platinum level luthier for Martin, Gibson.
I've got two Fenders up on the wall as well, acoustic guitars. One's actually one's autographed by Brantley Gilbert.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a picker.
Yeah, and then the other one is from Toby's. So, yeah.
Well, wow.
I also got one signed by Vince Gill, another artist.
Vince is a friend of mine. I've done work for him over the years. Vince is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
Him and Paisley, I've done a lot of work for both those guys because they shared a warehouse in Nashville.
Yeah.
And when I was going back and forth to Gibson during the Great Flood, it flooded out their warehouse, and I was only able to I saved what I could save because the water was in there. It was like 5 feet deep, and they had all their stuff up on racks, and not right on the floor. They were up like 36 inches. Water went up 5 feet and it filled their guitars. And they had, now Paisley's he's like, he collects, but he plays every one of them.
Yeah.
Vince is I can't say enough good things about him. He's a badass, and he's on so many albums. People have no idea how many albums Vince is on. He's on just about all of them. And what a great guy. Those are treasured signatures.
Oh.
They surely are.
They are, and
Treasure.
they're gonna be my my nice little treasure that I've been enjoying, and because I grew up, and a real quick synopsis of it is I grew up, in a broken home, didn't have anything, didn't have money, you know, we used to have to like literally super glue the our shoes to keep them from as they ripped. It was
Fix them.
it just
Put
took
'em back.
yeah. It was just how I was raised and or how I was kind of my childhood was, and I didn't have anything. The only treasures I had were like collecting baseball cards and stuff, and those got
There you
tossed. Those got tossed out, by my mother's boyfriend at the time. And it was like, "What are you doing?" And I had a lot of the good rookie cards, a lot of different would have been nice expensive cards nowadays, but lost it all. But I said to myself, once I grow up and I'm able to start collecting my own stuff, I said I'm going to enjoy it and be able to, live my childhood life back over again. So
There you go.
It's
There you go.
it's crazy, but no, it's good talking to you. Finally, be able to get you on and everything, and we're gonna send a.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everything that you do. I appreciate you. Because you're doing real stuff, and that's what we need. Is we need real men the time has come. We've spit on our hands, hoist the colors, and take the country back.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna have in Austin, Texas. Oh wait, May 17th through the 19th. That's this weekend.
Yeah. That's the.
I have a new race car driver who is now participating in the track day for veterans.
Oh, okay.
He's actually going to be down there, and he races he races more of the like street cars, BMWs and stuff like that. He does a lot of that stuff. The guy's name is Chris Walsh. What did that just happen? I had him on some stuff, and I finally got it set up with him. But yeah, now he's participating in this, and I'm actually going to go down and meet him in Virginia this July. So it's another person,
Cool.
Another person I added on, another driver, and it's getting bigger and bigger and more and more. I just had the NASCAR Foundation give-a-thon that we just did, which they actually extend.
Yeah, I just saw that going through my iPad.
Yeah, they just
how'd it go?
It actually went good. We're 300 off of what our goal was, and so what got told is they extended it now again today as well. I believe until just for today, because they have a donor who is that is gonna match whatever donations come in, which is like $77,000. Just today, he's gonna match up $77,000. So I reposted it to hopefully try to hit that goal. Because again, it's like we're right there, so close to it, And so I pushed it back out to see hopefully we can get it. But we raised some good money, and it's gonna really do a lot of help, because there's a individual that we're trying to send down to Maryland to be able to get a what they call an SGB shot. It's the cellular ganglia blockage. It's where they inject into like a nerve, and it's supposed to help with PTS. And so we're trying to now. We set the goal a little higher just so we can try to get that, so we're able to send that veteran down. So that's what we're looking at. But yeah, it's been going very well, and it's amazing, and I was honored. Our organization was accepted out of 350 organizations to play. Out of 350, only 37 organizations got to have their video played through that 37 hours. So we were very honored. A lot of the guys that volunteer all their time, they were absolutely amazed that they were able to have that on there. So, it's good times,
Okay, because this weekend I'll definitely shuffle Fubar Studios around to the peoples, and I'm not gonna just tell people right left. I'm gonna go right to Glock and Sig and Smith and Wesson, and KA is going to be there. I know KA is going to be there. Night Force is going to be there. Leopold's going to be there. And then people like Lena Mikulik, Kay Mikulik is going to be there. Her mom's going to be there.
Yeah.
Big Daddy's going to be there. Laney Oakley, Laney Barnes, she's going to be there.
Yeah.
I was told her sister Tracy's going to be there, and maybe her very high level ear, nose, and throat sisters. There's 3 Barnes sisters. One of them's two of them are Olympians. One of them is an ear, nose, and throat guru.
Yeah.
And apparently they're going to be walking around, and then Taryn's going to be there. I have not personally met Tatiana Gardera yet, but I've been told she's going to be down there, and if she's rolling around, that means the Taryn Tactical people are going to be rolling around, and I definitely want to go visit the Canic booth. If you haven't checked out have you checked out the Taryn Tactical Canic pistol?
No, I haven't yet, but I've been meaning
I got to shoot one at Blackbeard Armory. He bought one. He's the dealer, and I got to shoot his personal gun before they were even for sale.
Yeah,
and it's the first time that Taryn has had a major manufacturer let him do it whatever he wants. Because Taryn is a super genius.
Yeah.
And this guy is super genius. And he's one of maybe the best shooters around next to Jerry Mikulik and Lena and Lanny. But his new pistol is unbelievable. I will have one of the Taryn Tacticals. When I shot one of the now my Combat Master was this much closer, but 4 times as expensive, and these guns are going to go for, I think they're like $900 or something like that.
Yeah.
But top to bottom, it's all his design, it's all his stuff from Canic. And the Canic people said, do whatever you want. We'll do whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
And boy, did it pay off.
Thank you for supporting Homeland Heroes Salute podcast. Please make sure to like and follow Homeland Heroes on all of their social media outlets. Homeland Heroes Salute podcast is a Fubar Studios Sinista1 co-production.